so we saw some changes, is that right?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay. What did you guys notice about the changes? What changes did we see and what causes did we see? Let's talk to each other between your groups. What did you notice? So you can talk to them, Jesse. Talk to someone from a different group. What did you see?
We saw that the water getting So, what is that happening? He put it into the water. How did that happen? The water is so hot. The wax changed. You took it out. Changed
When I put the wax into a container of hot water, the wax started to melt and it got colder. Then the hot wax took the shape of like that container, and so when I took it out, it was kind of tilted in the container, so like only part of it had wax on it. Like Wormy said, it got used to the room temperature and
Alright, so let's just finish up here for now. We have some more work. I have some marshmallows and some chocolate, some other things that we're going to work with. But right now, let's take a look. Let's start with water. We know one thing that we know that freezes is water. Is that correct? And when something is water, what do we call that state of matter? And when it freezes, and when it freezes, what does it become? I'll use my board over here. What state of matter when it freezes, when water freezes, what do we say it is? It's a solid. So we go from a liquid, water goes from a liquid to a solid. Right, to a solid. And when it's a solid, we say that it's what? What's the state? You know, what is it, Justin?
When it's a solid.
Is it melted or is it frozen?
It's frozen.
Okay, so when water becomes a solid, we say it's frozen. Right? Now, this is a tricky word for us, that frozen word. When we had a candle wax, was the candle wax ever a liquid?
Yes.
Yes.
So the wax was a liquid. And then did it become a solid again?
Yes.
What caused that to become a solid?
Because of the cold temperature in the air.
Nice and loud. What was it because?
Because of the cold temperature in the
She
air.
says because of the temperature. What do you say?
I think that it's due to the temperature.
Temperature again? Speak nice and loud. Jesse?
I think it's due to the Celsius.
To the Celsius. What does that mean?
It means the degree.
The
Like the degrees. How much degrees?
The temperature
Yeah.
in Celsius? Okay, does anybody think something else that caused it to go from, that caused it to change its state? Yes.
I think it was like the water, how hot it was. It was like a stove
Right.
and it was melting.
Did it have something to do with heat?
Yes, it had something to do with
Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
What about the heat?
The heat, like, it caused it to melt because like the air from the heat went into the wax, and then it like melted.
So you guys are talking about, you see that melting, you saw a lot of that melting, we had a lot of heat around us, but we also saw that when we removed it from the heat, what happened to it? When we removed it from the heat, what happened to it? Any other observations? So some people did make an observation at all? No observations? Justin, what did you observe? When you removed it from the heat, what did it look like?
It looked like
Talk about the states.
a solid-ish. It was like kind of gooey.
Was that because you had water in it?
I think so.
Anybody have something other than a gooey state when you removed it? He got water in his. What did yours turn into?
I saw that it didn't turn back into like the chunks it was in. Instead, it turned back into a solid, but in the like place that the liquid was in.
Okay. So it was a solid, but it just, the shape was different. So it didn't maintain its shape.
Yeah.
Okay, the shape was different. That's a good observation. That's an interesting observation.
The color went back to its original color.
Okay, so you saw that happen. So the heat caused some change. Is that right? So we have that. So that's an interesting observation to remember. The heat caused a change. Anything else?
When we took it out, I think I agree with Jenna. It didn't turn back into the chunks. It turned into like part of the shape of the container.
The question is what was it, a solid again?
Yeah.
It was a solid. So when we say water is a solid, we say it's frozen. Can we say that about wax?
Yeah.
Earlier, Justin, you had said something about that. Can we say that it's, is this frozen as well?
Well, it turns back into a solid. I don't really think you would call it frozen though.
Why wouldn't you call it frozen? That's what we're talking about. Why would you not call it frozen?
I think you wouldn't call it frozen because frozen it would be cold, and the wax when it was hardening it wasn't frozen. It was
Okay.
cold.
So here's where I'm going to teach you one important thing. Okay? We're filming. So, thanks, Lord. So here's what the one thing I want to teach you today. When a liquid turns into a solid, it's frozen. Okay? The temperature, the temperature is different. The boiling point, the heating point, the freezing point is just different for wax than it is for water. What's the temperature that water will freeze at? That'll become a solid?
Pretty much either 20 degrees.
Anybody know when water turns to solid, what the temperature is? Kristen?
I think 32 degrees.
Right. Does everything freeze at 32?
No.
How hot do you think it was when this wax froze?
It was 46.
Where was it? Where was the wax when it froze?
It was just on the table and it was out of the water.
Right in this room. What do you think the temperature is here? Look up there. 69 degrees, and it was frozen. So this wax is really hard right now. It's frozen. You could melt it. You could melt ice. But this will freeze at a different temperature than water. So that's one of the things that I want you to learn today. All right? It freezes. The different materials have different freezing points. Okay? And when it goes from a liquid to a solid, it's frozen. That's what we call frozen. So I'll ask you again. Is this frozen?
No.
Yes.
We have a difference of opinion. Jesse, is it frozen? Is it a liquid or a solid? So if it's solid, then we would consider it to be frozen. All right. Could this be a liquid?
Yes,
I did.
The ink inside.
You could
But the
melt it.
outside?
The plastic could melt.
Plastic could melt? Okay. All right. So I think we'll end there. We have a lot more work to do. On Monday we'll do chocolate and marshmallows. And we'll talk about we'll do a little bit more work with
Do we
temperature.
have to eat at least one?
So you can turn it up.
I have
Thank
a
you
quick
very much.
question.
What's your question?